financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is the rules on IRAs have changed. Brian Small, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Ken. Pleasure to be here.
Jeffrey Linden.
Top of the morning, Ken.
Scott Weinberg.
As always, good morning, good morning.
Pat, we're going to have a lot of questions for you on this topic. Good morning, Pat Samasco.
I've been studying.
studying?
I put my thinking cap on over the holidays.
It amazes me how major legislation that can affect millions of people kind of goes through and gets passed and gets no media coverage. People in the business knew that this was coming because it's been talked about for the last year or so. But the day that the president signed it, there was no coverage. Until after he signed it, there was no coverage on television.
Yeah, they've been
and
talking
very
to-
little coverage on Wall Street Journal
Yeah.
and major journals.
They've been talking about doing it for years and years and years, and they just sort of slipped it in at the last second.
All right, so give me a quick rundown. What it's called, the Secure Act.
Yeah, it's the
What-
Secure Act, and
what
the
have they
idea,
done?
well, they wanted to. What's going on is they want to get the income back into circulation as quick as possible. So the good part of it, and there's good, the bad, and the really ugly. The good part of it is the old days. If you take money out of you have to take money out of your retirement
Wait, so
accounts.
we're talking about retirement accounts,
401ks,
IRAs.
403b, thrift savings plan, anything that's a retirement account. When you're 70 and a half under the old law, you'd have to start taking out your required minimum distribution. What they did is increase that to 72. So you don't have to start taking anything out until you're 72, which again, it's your required minimum
So if
distribution.
you're still working, you don't need the money, you're in a high tax bracket.
Yeah.
that point.
How
Well,
much is the minimum distribution?
It's around a little bit over 3.5%, around, let's say 4% per year. And the idea is you're going to stretch that out over your whole lifetime, which you're talking about the tax brackets. It's not the tax. Every dad in the world hates paying taxes. So when he's working, he has high income. He puts some money into the retirement account so he gets the tax deduction. Now he's retired and his income's Social Security is so low, he doesn't pull anything out unless he has to because he doesn't want to pay the tax.
But then he's paying low tax.
Low tax. So when you die and it goes to the kids and they're in the highest working years of their life, they have to pay it out at their tax bracket.
But there is a downside, though, on the beginning of it, though, right? That you can't take it out any earlier than, 59 and a half, right?
59 and a
And
half.
if you do, then you get
You get
penalized.
this
Right.
10%
So
So
that
there's,
hasn't
there's
changed.
that 59 and a half to 70 and a half
Yeah.
window that you could be taking money out of your IRA. The question is, should you be taking money out of your IRA?
Well, that's where, it depends. We always preach, don't look at your tax bracket, look at the kid's tax bracket. So if you're in a really high tax bracket because you have good pensions and good Social Security, you should be taking out the minimum if your kids are in a really low tax
Here,
bracket.
let's back it up because I want to make sure that the viewers
look what the
are
Secure
following
Act
and
is,
listeners
right.
are following to the whole process. So you have an IRA.
Right.
And you're working and you've been contributing $7,500 a year to that IRA. It's not a Roth IRA, so you've been putting the money away, reducing your taxable income by doing it, and now you're at age 65.
Right.
And there's $200,000 in this IRA.
Right.
The issue with this new act says before you had to start taking your required distributions at 70 and a half, now you can defer to 72.
Right.
You also, I think there's another benefit is under the old law you couldn't continue to make
Right.
IRA contributions after what, 70 and a half?
Yeah.
Now there's no limit. You can continue to contribute
As long
to
as
your
you're
IRA.
still working.
Okay. You're still going to have to pay tax when you take the money out.
So that looks like the good thing. But now you pass away. Under the old law, the kids could turn it into a stretch IRA or a beneficiary IRA and stretch it out over their whole lifetime.
Okay, before you get to the kids, what about the wife? All right, so I die, my wife is the beneficiary of my IRA.
Right.
What happens to that?
She can turn it into a spousal rollover, and now it's her IRA, and she can stretch it out over her whole lifetime.
Okay, so she gets the benefit of taking that money out at the lower tax bracket too.
She gets the benefit of turning it into her IRA, and then she can stretch it out, whether it's a lower tax bracket or not. She can take it out over.
She
her
just
whole
has her
lifetime.
RMD at that
So
point.
my wife,
At age 72
my wife who's
now.
28,
Right.
and I kick the bucket at 70, she'll be 33. She can stretch it over her life expectancy. Now, Bonnie, I hope you're watching this because I think of you every day as being 28.
Right. Right.
All right, so
And then
all right,
she's going to give it to her new boyfriend beneficiary after she passes away,
I
who's
take
only
back,
21
I take
at
back
that
all the
time.
nice things I just said.
No, but so the younger spouse inherits, and that's not uncommon. Does the younger spouse have to take the money out within the 10
No.
years, or can they wait until they're 72?
72, and they can see it's a spousal roll. Now it's the spouse's IRA. She can turn it into a. She has to start taking it out at age 72, and she has the ability to take it out over her whole lifetime.
If she takes it out earlier than that, before 59 and a half, she still pays the penalty.
Yes,
Okay.
but the fix on that is she can turn it into a beneficiary IRA because she is so young if she needs the money, but then she would have to take it out over that 10-year period.
Okay, so the 10 years kicks in with
Kids.
children.
Yeah, let's talk about the kids.
All right, so husband and wife have both passed away, and there's an IRA. Husband had an IRA with still has $200,000 in it. Wife has an IRA with $100,000. They're both gone. They have 2 children. The children are in their 40s.
Right. They
Okay.
have to they can turn into a beneficiary IRA. Under the new law, there's no required minimum
When you
distribution.
say beneficiary IRA, what do you mean?
They don't have to cash it in immediately and pay all the tax on it. They could turn it into their own beneficiary IRA, and now they have 10 years, and they have to get it all out within the end of that 10-year period.
So the income that's earned on it during the 10 years, they don't have to pay on it unless
Correct.
they take the money out.
Correct.
But they have to take it all out by the end of the 10 years.
Correct.
All right, we're coming up to a break, and then when we come back, we want to talk about how the problems, this doesn't sound so bad, but there are problems caused by it, and that's what we
It's
want
a
to
huge
focus on.
problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we were talking at the break. All right, so husband dies. The $300,000, and wife's still alive, $300,000 IRA, she's the beneficiary. If I understand what we were saying at the break is, she has to make an election by September of the year following the year of death as to whether she wants to roll that over into an IRA in her name or do a beneficiary IRA.
She could do either one.
If she does the rollover, then she gets the benefit of stretching out the required distributions based upon her age.
Right.
But she can't take any money until 59 and a half, otherwise she pays the penalty.
Correct.
But if she chooses the beneficiary IRA, she then doesn't get the stretch out ability. She gets the 10-year rule, which means at the end of 10 years, she has to have taken all the money and paid the tax.
Yes. Unless she's within 10 years of that lifetime. So that, let's not get into the technical part of that because the jury's still out on a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
Which is, the problem is there, if that's your wife, that's fine. But what if it's your third wife? People don't understand. Dad dies, he wants his third wife to have the benefit of the IRA, but when she dies, he wants that money to go to his kids.
He only wants her to get the income from it.
Right.
So how do you handle that?
Well, in the old days, we would put it in the special trust agreement, and then she would get the income for her whole lifetime. She dies, it goes to his kids. She can't
in the old
change
days, who would pay the tax? Would she pay the tax?
She would pay the
on
tax
income?
while it's going on, but under the new law, it has to be out of that trust agreement within 10 years, which means unless she dies within that 10-year period, if she gets it, it's in her name, what's she going to do with it? She's going to change the beneficiary to her kids versus his kids.
Or the
that is the ugly part of this.
So how do you get around that?
You got to really look at the tax brackets while dad is alive. You want to start getting it out of that IRA, convert it from an IRA to a non-IRA before you pass away, because now you got all sorts of options at that point.
Well, isn't that the intended goal of all this statute? To get to taxes on the money and then get taxes on it kind of twice?
No, it's the intended goal when dad dies. But while dad's alive, he doesn't want to pay the tax on it. But he doesn't realize he's not paying the tax. It's a nightmare for the kids later on.
We've talked about this before on the show, where there's that tendency to say, I'm in the low tax bracket, but I still don't want to take the IRA. I start using my money that is I've already paid the tax on, which is the wrong decision even then. You should get rid. Once your income falls, that's when you want to get that IRA out of it.
I thought the idea was that they wanted the money back in the system. They wanted to flow back.
Well, if that's true, then they increased the required minimum date to 72. Right? If they wanted that quicker, they would have reduced it to 68 or 65. It's upon death they want it back into the system a lot faster. And the trouble.
And they probably have tracking issues too.
Well, so it's the same thing with the Roth IRA. There's no tax on a Roth IRA, but you could stretch out the payment of the distribution over your whole lifetime. Well, that means it's not being taxed for the whole lifetime of the beneficiary. Now you have to pull it out within that 10-year period because they want it in the system long.
So the same rules apply to the Roth IRA?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, which is even in some respects more unfair because you already paid the tax on that income.
Well, they want the money back in a taxable environment quicker. So spouses, it's a big deal. Second marriage, third marriage. Kids, the first thing, it's the tax brackets of the kids. So your son is an engineer and your daughter's a doctor and you're
a high bracket.
Yeah, high bracket here, and dad's on Social Security. He's at a 10% bracket. he dies, that money goes to those kids. Now, if they're making $100,000 a year, and now you dump another $100,000 a year because of the IRA distribution, now they're maybe in a 37%.
So you could have a situation where dad is, I don't want to say, he's on his deathbed, or he's in the nursing home, he's gravely ill. That's a time where you need to have a meeting, because if dad's in the low tax bracket, at least you, let's say it's December. You could take half of the money out in December, pay tax on half, take the other half in January at the lower tax bracket, because if he passes away and his kids are both in 40% tax brackets and they're going to be in that bracket for the next 10 years, you're going to pay 40% tax.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
But wait,
So
wait,
you're
if it's a
starting,
Roth
You gotta
don't do it
call
at
when that
85,
happens.
do it at 75, 76. We're so busy at the end of the year because we're, in every conversation, Dad's having a heart attack. What do you mean I got to pay 10% tax? And the kids are saying, Dad, I'm in a 37% bracket.
Yeah.
Please pay the tax.
So, but if it's a Roth IRA
There is no tax.
and there's no tax to the kids,
Right.
so effectively, one goal would be, if you're in that position right now with the
Roth
IRAs, is try and
conversion.
do Roth
Yeah, Roth.
conversions.
So there's
So
a
you-
lot
but
of
you still have the
fixes.
10-year rule on the Roth, because what's nice about a Roth is the income accumulates tax-free
Right.
also. But they don't let you do that forever.
So the
when you
fix
take it out at 10
is
years.
while you're alive, look at doing Roth versus traditional retirement accounts. Roth conversions, if you're retired. Life insurance. Life insurance is tax-free always. So that's the stuff that you can look at to get it to the kids in tax-free accounts versus tax-deferred
Right,
accounts.
so bottom line is you need to take a fresh look at all of these issues now because of this change in the law with the Secure Act.
Absolutely.
Right. I want to shift focus, same topic, and think about, all right, first one starting off, husband and wife are young, they both passed away at a young age, and now there's IRAs, and the kids are 19 years old
Right.
and 21. They're going to inherit $300,000.
Right.
That 19-year-old's going to do what? Brian always says he's going to buy a Corvette and buy a bar.
No, not the
No,
bar.
you
They're
like
go-
the bar.
You like
I
the
like the
bar.
Corvette.
I think they're going to buy a Corvette, and the cost of a Corvette
How do
these
you
days.
protect that money?
Well,
300's
it's the
gone.
same trust agreement that we talked about that has the protection in it. And the new law says that you can keep it for 10 years after they turn majority. So let's say the majority is age 18. You can keep it in the trust until they're 28.
What about the taxes during that 10
Well,
years?
again, you can sprinkle it out. It's actually, it gets to the kids. You give them 30 grand a year, 30 grand a year, 30 grand a year. And the idea is that they're paying it at the lower bracket because their income's
so
lower.
the trust isn't paying the tax then?
Correct. You're distributing it to the beneficiary. You're
That's
flowing
one
it
way.
through.
But
Take
if
a
you
break.
have,
When we
if you
come
have
back,
com-
take a break. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about protecting issues with money with respect to kids and parents.
That's the ugly part.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Criminal matters are serious. Your freedom, future, and wallet are on the line. Criminal defense attorney Scott Weinberg is a former prosecutor and renowned criminal lawyer for over 30 years. He's the go-to defender in Michigan to protect your rights. Scott's advice: you have the right to remain silent. Use it. If charged with a crime, call Scott Weinberg today, 888-235-HELP, 888-235-HELP. And remember, stay silent.
Time for announcements. A reminder, viewers, to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on Praise Network, 93.5, 98.3, and 99.9 FM, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $100 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, pop in your name and your email address, and you're entered into the contest. We have a seminar coming up Wednesday, January 22nd, 6 to 7:30 p.m., Debt Be Gone. This is our first seminar of 2020 focusing on debt elimination. We're going to go how to switch to stop continually paying debt and instead putting that money in savings rather than letting it go to your credit card companies, so that at the end of the day you have something to retire with. Debt elimination is a key part of the process. We're going to talk about solutions using bankruptcy and solutions outside of bankruptcy. Special segments from Jeff Linden on how to resolve tax issues, and Scott Weinberg, criminal law issues everyone should know about, and attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call the firm at 888-235-HELP or go on the website and request a consult. You got debt issues and estate planning issues with Brian, tax issues with Jeff, business law issues with myself, elder law issues with Pat Simasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, criminal issues with Scott Weinberg. You're always entitled to a free consult. Just pick up the phone, call, we'll get you in, we'll go over your issues, figure out the right strategy and plan on how to address the issues. Our free consults are not meet and greets. We analyze the problem and come up with a firm solution to your problem, what it'll cost, and what the steps you need to take in order to effectuate that result. Also, go to the website. We've got free reports. Brand new, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by Jeff Linden and myself. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasco Law, Michigan Criminal Lawyers, PLC, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
All right, last segment, I want to just talk about general rules and systems we use to protect money from creditors. Here's the issue. Mom and dad have some money, but have their own major creditor issues. That's one. Or we have a situation where mom and dad are good, but son has creditor issues, and they're worried about it.
Let's do one ad. Son has bad creditor issues, daughter has no creditor issues.
Yeah, so it's
Well, that's two kids, a good kid and
assume that the case. Okay, well, let me give you my people. Bill and Shirley, they have $300,000 of equity in their home. They have savings of $250,000. That's non-qualified. That's not in an IRA. It's not in a 401k. They have an IRA of $400,000. All right, example one. Bill guaranteed a loan for Jeff. That's their son for his business. The business went bust. The bank is now suing Bill for the $200,000. And the question is, how can we protect Bill and Shirley as to the IRA, the savings, and the home? So, first question, do we have to worry about the IRA?
No.
No.
Because the IRA is protected from creditors.
Unless he dies and it goes to the son who also guaranteed the loan and
Yes,
it
who
loses
did.
the credit.
Yeah, well, because an inherited IRA is
Okay.
not protected.
All right,
And
now
that's
let's
the
talk
problem.
about right.
If we put it in the trust agreement, we could have that protection vehicle within the trust. But now under the new law, you have to have that distributed to him over the 10-year period.
No,
And then he has the
I
money
thought,
for
I
the
thought the
creditor
law
to
was
get.
very clear. It had to be removed from the IRA. Can it still remain in the trust?
Yes, but the tax bracket will be way, way, way
But
higher
is
than
that a better potential choice than
the
letting
bank
creditors
As a
get to
creditor
it?
protection.
Is it the worst choice of the horrible choices? Maybe not. But are there better options that you can pick?
All right, so that's the IRA. That issue we've talked about. I want to talk about the savings account. So there's a savings account of $250,000. Bill's being sued on this guarantee. He has no defense. How are we going to protect that $250,000? Now, what we do to protect it is we say, okay, half of that money is Shirley's, half of it's Bill's. We divide that money up. Give Shirley her $125,000. She's not being sued. Bill's still exposed on the $125,000 that's sitting in that savings account. So what we do is we transfer that to an investment LLC owned by Bill and Shirley. Okay? When you have an LLC, a creditor can only attach distributions. They can't pierce the LLC and grab the money. So what we do is we put that money in an LLC for Bill and we let it sit there. He doesn't take distributions, it accumulates, pays us the tax once the accountant determines the tax. And then Bill's other money he's getting from Social Security goes in a segregated account because you can't touch Social Security if you're a creditor. Then what we do is, as far as spending money for Bill and Shirley, we spend the LLC money first and get that gone, because Shirley's money can't be touched. Shirley's Social Security is safe. Shirley's 125 share of the 250 is safe, and Shirley's and Bill's Social Security is safe. So that covers that scenario. The house is a problem in that in Michigan you can get a judgment lien. It doesn't attach when husband and wife own the property together if the judgment's only against Bill, but if Shirley predeceases Bill and he now owns the property, then the judgment lien attaches.
But it's only good for 5 years.
And renewable for 5.
There's no teeth to it. In other words,
and it's
they
renewable
can't
for
force
5.
a foreclosure.
You can't force a foreclosure, but you can't sell the house.
This is true.
Okay. So the house has shortcomings, but we have a mechanism there when it's tenancy by the entireties. Now let's quickly do Jeff. Bill and Shirley are going to leave money. If they leave the money to Jeff, Jeff's got creditors.
Right.
So, Brian, if you can put Jeff in a bankruptcy, clean him up first before he inherits, that's good.
Well, sure, I would put him in a bankruptcy, but I'd also have Pat review Bill and Shirley's estate plan to make sure that he can't inherit during the lifetime of the bankruptcy.
Right.
So then you leave the money to the other daughter.
So that's where the fix is. With that trust agreement, you have a good responsible child and a good irresponsible child. Split that bucket up. She gets the IRA money, he gets the non-IRA money in trust. There is no mandatory distribution.
There you have it. These are difficult, important issues that you can't figure out on your own. The IRA, the Secure Act, if you have IRAs, you need to get in and review it with your financial advisor or talk to Pat Simasco to know what to do with it. If you've got creditor problems like we're talking about with Bill and Shirley, you need expertise as to how to protect those assets. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.